Alright, we're going to try something new. My name is Anthony, and I am very tired. It's like 1:14 a.m., but regardless, it's okay. So, if you've been following this, I've been progressively making additions to this side project, which has slowly been enveloping more than what I've kind of wanted it to be, but I mean, whatever. It's cool. Concept is that what I want to do is that I want to have the ability to connect up several MIDI devices, and per my selection, I want to be able to play the keyboard. Um, let's say like the piano keyboard. I'm limiting it to the MIDI piano keyboard for the time being. I know there's like different MIDI instruments, like the pads, like Ableton's Push, but I'm I don't have that, so we're just gonna disregard that. The main point of this is just to be able to kind of play MIDI keyboard notes from the piano and then have them display from the screen. I'm opting to have two different types of display. I'm having the music notation, which is like the music staff, which many musically trained people will be used to. They'd notice like the treble clef and then the 5 bars and the time signature. In addition, we'd have the kind of numerical and also key value notation as well that kind of pop up over here. So the main addition for today, at least, is related to one of the issues that I prefaced with in my previous video, at least in the comment section. One thing that I was noticing was that with the actual setup, I was having some persistence issues, or at least some sort of maybe bug. We'll call it a bug. I kind of explained it inside this kind of PowerPoint state machine where the CN represents the current note and PN represents previous note. As I kind of walked through the example of hitting like a C triad, which is like a C, an E, and a G, I progressed up to this point. I'm able to have a proper expected situation where I have the current notes of playing the triad and previously it's only the C and the E. This is completely fine because when I actually have the sound component that's actually playing, I'm going to have all three of the notes playing at the same time. And then when I have the orange arrow, which represents like a disable or lifting of the finger, I remove one note, which is G, and I'm seeing that, well, we're actually hearing, for instance, that the note is no longer playing. But there's been situations with the previous iteration of my code where it just wasn't actually working the way that I wanted to be initially, in the sense that when I actually repressed G4, or just G in general, I wasn't actually able to hear any of the new sounds. And this was due to the fact that my algorithm of playing sounds and displaying things were basically the same. I had it where if my previous, if the current is a subset of the previous, I'd just keep the previous state and I'd use that for the sound. But, um, and I'm kind of rambling right now. I don't, maybe this doesn't make sense, but the point being is that I'll continually press G and it just never actually sounds. So, solution for this, at least disregarding all this, the solution is that I just completely um, disconnected the sound component to the actual note value component. So I no longer had that sort of dependency for the sounds. Um, this allows me to repetitively play multiple keys and have them actually update real time on both the music staff and also the music notation value, as you can see here. Playing the C triad and then releasing G and then pressing again. Kind of annoying. I know this is very loud, but the point being that now we're able to actually have a pretty coherent situation where whatever you're playing from your keyboard is being accurately displayed on the browser. So, note that's left over is just the very last note that's been played, or at least is left over in the previous note or the previous state. So the main thing that I added was this enable sticky note. What this allows me to do is that, let's say for instance, a user wants to be able to play chords or just play anything in random. They're like, oh, that's a cool sound. Oh, I really like that sound. So they could be like, all right, well, I have no clue what the heck I'm playing, and I want to know how I can write it. So you enable a sticky note, and you can play, and it'll keep the chords that you have. So you can kind of modify as you will, but the point being is that it basically follows the same algorithm. I'm just keeping the subset, and then if it's not a subset, I'm just returning this new thing. So, I mean, it works out. So far, so good. I'll have to figure out what else I want to add in, but I mean, kind of late. I'll figure it out later. Thanks for watching.